Hello, Goddess. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about the negative, self-rejecting ways that we as women talk to ourselves about our own bodies, how we see ourselves and relate to ourselves. And I want to share with you a really potent approach to start changing this. Specifically, it's kind of I like to think of it as an outside-in approach, where we change the way that we see and relate to other women, and as a result, that starts to change the way that we see and relate to ourselves. So let me start by sharing a little bit about why I decided to make this video. As a women's coach, I talk to a lot of women, and they get vulnerable and open up to me, and they share, their inner worlds with me. And one of the types of things I hear a lot that absolutely breaks my heart is statements like, "I look so gross," or "I look disgusting," which then turns into "I am disgusting." "My belly is gross," "My thighs are too big," etc., etc. And I want you to get really honest with yourself and check in to ask yourself, how often do you talk to yourself in this way? I would say that most of us are not immune to this at all, because we're taught from a young age to see ourselves and talk to ourselves in this way. This is also a topic actually that's really near and dear to my heart, because I used to have a really strong eating disorder, and this way of viewing myself was like possessed me. It wasn't a once in a while thing. It was all the time, and it was brutal and caused a lot of damage that I have done a lot of work to undo. So it's prevalent, it's personal, and I am passionate about helping women fall completely in love with themselves and stop self-sabotaging behaviors. And this way of self-talk is definitely a very self-sabotaging behavior. So let me just take a moment to say, fuck the patriarchy. And I'm not saying men are bad, all men are bad, whatever. This isn't about men. I'm specifically talking about the patriarchal system that has been perpetuated for thousands of years, that makes women less than and objectifies women. And frankly, for a really long time, in a lot of ways, if you want to maybe get a little bit dramatic, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch, has trained all of us, men, women, everyone, to see women as livestock, kind of as objects to measure and evaluate, and then to own or discard, and to decide if they're good enough based on some set of superficial values. So, fuck the system. Fuck the system that has taught, girls from even before they're teenagers, that their value is based on, how they look, and has taught these girls who then grow out into women to see themselves as a set of disparate parts that could each always be better in some way or many ways. That kind of perpetuates this culture of we always need to improve ourselves. We always need to fix ourselves, these different parts of us in various ways, and upgrade them so that we can be good enough for a man to deem we're good enough. And obviously this causes a lot of suffering, a lot of damage. Not only does this cause men to see women in this way, it causes women to see ourselves in this way, and other women. So it's very prevalent. I don't know how to fix the whole freaking system, but what I do know is that you can always address the system inside of you, and that way change your experience of life, which also has a big ripple effect. So I recently made a YouTube video about what I think is one of the keys to really overcoming the patriarchy within yourself. So check that out. I talk about this practice or approach of owning it, which I think is awesome and really works, and it's quite fun. But in this video, like I said, I want to share a more outside-in approach, where we start by addressing the way that we invoke the patriarchy on other women, and then that will automatically change the way that we relate to and see ourselves. So let's jump into the practice. There's 3 steps to this practice. The first step is to build awareness, to really get present to the way that you see and relate to other women. And I recommend starting with just like TV and movies. So when you are watching, a show or something, I want you to pay attention to your automatic stories in your mind about the different girls and women on the screen. Like, what do you notice about them? What do you pay attention to? Where do your eyes go? What are those automatic quick judgments that you make? What do you focus on? And also pay attention to like how that's different than the way that you see the men and the boys on screen. What do you pay attention to with them? And I assert that you will very quickly start to learn that, oh my God, like I am not automatically viewing these women in a kind way. And I am viewing them through these patriarchal filters, where you might kind of zoom in on a part of her that you think should be different, look different, right? Or, you could expand this to like personality and behavior as well. Notice when you're think things like, oh, she's to this, she's to that, her XYZ part is to this, to that, etc. You'll make some new discoveries about yourself too. Like, what does it look like specifically for you? I'm not going to tell you how it's going to be. Find out for yourself, okay? So that is step 1. And I want you to really take your time with this. Like, maybe you do this for a whole week to start, and then you'll be ready to move on to step 2. Okay, I take that back. You are actually doing step 2 at the same time as you're moving through step 1. So step 2 is just to have some compassion for yourself. As you're going through this process, you might start judging yourself and beating up on yourself for the unkind things that you think, and for, being like maybe men that you've judged before that objectify women, because you're probably going to notice that you do the same thing, right? And so what I invite you to take on in step 2, which you're doing again throughout the process of step 1, is to just like give yourself some love, some understanding, and just know that this is normal. This is what you have been conditioned to do. And also, if you speak to yourself in these ways, like, how could you not project that onto other women as well? So please remember to have compassion for yourself throughout this process. And once you, build a certain amount of awareness about how it goes with you and relating to viewing and, judging other women, you can move on to the final step, step 3, which is about starting to change it, basically. So step 3 is all about looking through different lenses when you are seeing a woman. So you can start this practice with women on screen. Again, I don't know about you, but during these COVID times, I'm watching a lot of TV, so that means there's a lot of opportunities to practice. But then, of course, take this out into the real world, right? Like the gal checking you out at the grocery store, your friend, anyone and everyone that you want to practice with. So here's specifically what I want you to look for and see. Start with her divine essence. You don't need to know what this means or how to see it, what it looks like. Just trust that intuitively it's something your being already knows how to do. So just open yourself up to seeing and taking in that. Also, look to see her unique inherent beauty. Again, this is something that I can't describe too much to you, but you're gonna know it. It's something that you'll get better with over time. Just have that intention and it will happen. And as you do this, I want you to really bask in what you find beautiful about her. And there might be some conventional beauty things that you see, and don't beat yourself up for that, right? Like that's not bad either. But I invite you to practice expanding what you have traditionally seen as beautiful in terms of like body type, face structure, everything. Look for beauty, see more beauty. And then also, I think this part's really fun and important too, like take in her vibe, her unique, authentic energy, and notice what you love about it. Again, like bask in it. Look for what's cool about her as well as what's beautiful. And last but certainly not least, as you're looking, at women, I invite you to see them as like a whole being, and more than just, a bunch of parts together like the patriarchy has trained us to see women, but like a whole being, and not just a whole body, but like a whole radiant, divine, unique, magical human. And so that's the practice. And just keep doing this until you automatically see women with just like so much love and admiration and even celebration. And as you continue with this practice over time, I assert that you will automatically see yourself in a different way, in a more loving way, in a way where you're more accepting of all of you, of your whole body and beyond. And you might just get a little high on your own supply doing all this. So enjoy. I'd love to hear about how it goes. So feel free to leave a comment or reach out and see what happens. Yeah, just go in curious and committed to practice. Don't beat yourself up when you're not perfect. This isn't about getting it right. It's just about being an explorer and an experimenter, and just finding out what's possible. So thank you so much. See you again soon.